What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It has been a hot minute since we've done any fishing, any sort of anything on this channel, to be honest about it. And now with my work schedule finally calming down, toning down a little bit, I'm going to have time to fish again. I hope. That is the plan. That is what we're going to do. But as you know, it's been a long time. Last time you guys saw me in any form of fishing, even in this boat, I'm not even sure if you guys have seen me in this boat yet. We were talking about winter fishing and the fact that spring was on the way. That's been a hot minute ago. It is July, like end of July. So the fish are doing exactly what they were doing then, but just a little bit different, a little more active. They're out deep. In this video, we're going to talk about the 3 key tools that you can really use to find these summertime fish. Late winter and springtime fishing can be super easy. You know, the fish are coming up, they're getting shallow, and you can, go through areas and actually find these fish. But during the summertime, they can be anywhere out on the lake, and you've got to know where to find them and how to find them. And the number one thing that's going to help you find these fish is a depth finder like this. This is my dirty Helix 9 Humminbird Helix 9-inch unit. Shows me everything that I'm going to need. Has down scan, has your regular sonar, and it has GPS, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But this is a 9-inch screen. I highly recommend a 9-inch screen. I wouldn't go any less than a 7-inch screen, but I wouldn't even hit a 7-inch screen if I didn't have to have one. I'd go with a 9. Get the biggest unit that you can afford. In this case, for me, it was a Helix 9 that was pre-owned by a buddy, and I'm glad that he sold it to me because that is a great unit. Fish show up pretty clear on it. In fact, really clear. The bigger the screen you have, the more you can mess with the sensitivity and the contrast and all that, and really make those fish pop whenever you find them on your depth finder. The second biggest tool that I use for finding fish in the summertime is my little Navionics card that actually slides right in here into my unit. This is my Navionics. I believe this is a Plus card if I remember right. Yeah, it's a Navionics Plus card. This actually came with my Ray Marine that's on the kayak. I no longer use the kayak for that Ray Marine. That was a 7-inch screen, and for a kayak, it's pretty good. A 7-inch screen on a kayak works pretty alright. I'm okay with that. But I took the card out of that and I use it for this bigger unit. Now, that's a good one to use. The Lake Master cards, if you can use those are just the bomb.com with Humminbirds, and I'm not really sure about any other technology, but I know with Humminbirds you can shade in depths. You can shade in certain depths. So if you're looking for an area that's 15 foot deep and you need to have a warning like a hazard saying where shallow water is, it'll highlight those things. So say you're looking for 15 foot of water and no more. Well, it can highlight that area at 15 foot and less, or whatever the area is, and you can pinpoint exactly where these drop-offs, these ledges, these humps are, because it'll brighten it up. It'll make it brighter, and you can see it'll be colorized. It won't look like the rest of the screen will, and it'll also give you the whole shallow water thing. You can highlight 3 foot or less or something like that. Whatever you don't want to run the boat into, you can have it marked so you don't go throw your boat up on top of it like I've recently done once or twice. We won't talk about it. So those two things kind of go hand in hand, but one of the main things that people don't think about when looking for offshore fish is how they're gonna fish them. You can mark them all day on your GPS on your depth finder, but what happens after you mark them? Like, that's just on your unit. If you're like me and you don't have a unit up front that's got like an Ethernet cable to your other unit, then you can't really see that spot. And the answer to that is a simple marker buoy. After you've marked some fish on the depth finder, what I normally do is I drive over them. If I've seen them, then I mark the spot. I go up a couple hundred yards, turn around, I come back and I mark those fish again. You'll see them, they look like little dots. We're not going to talk about exactly what you're looking for today, but after you find them, you can go back over them one more time. The fish aren't really going to get spooked about a boat going over them, believe it or not. They don't really care that much. After I stop seeing the little dots on the screen on the ledge of the piece of structure that I'm fishing, I'll take this, unwrap it. That's how you do it. You unwrap it and you throw this over the edge. And that indicates a couple of things to you. Well, at least one major thing. It shows you where the fish stop at, where they are. Anything in front of that, based on the direction that you're going, is where the fish are. So fish around that, fish in front of it mainly, right in front of it, and you're going to catch a few more fish doing that. Now after the fish are already gone, after they're not showing up on your depth finder, you're going to have to think about the fact that they're behind you even more. So wherever you mark that spot at, you got this much room between you and the fish. So you toss that thing over here and you mark the fish 10 foot back there, then you're not exactly fishing on this buoy, you're fishing back there, but you're in line with the buoy, you're hitting the fish still, and that's the whole point of the marker buoy. It tells you approximately where the fish are. The other thing I do is keep 2 of these. I have 2 on the deck at all time. I have one right here sitting in my cup holder, and I have one setting up on the front deck already unrolled like this, a little lead sinker unrolled, and as soon as I hook up on a fish, I'm going to kick this marker buoy over the edge, and that way I'll know where I was, and approximately it'll show me where the fish I'm catching or have gotten bit from are. It'll show you, the general area that you need to be in. So between you and the other marker buoy, you know exactly, where you need to be casting, especially if it's some good fish. You need to try to stay on them. Fish get, they move around, they're nomadic, but they're going to be in that general area most of the time. Now on some of your deeper, clearer, eastern fisheries where they target herring and stuff, those fish are going to move, so things can change a lot with that. I don't really know how to fish that way. I don't have that kind of skill set. I haven't had to deal with them yet, but in general, that's exactly what I'll do. And it doesn't matter how deep it is or whatever, this thing will reach the bottom. I don't really know how many feet of line this thing actually has, but I fished in 50, 60, 70 foot of water, and this thing has still kept its mark. It stayed where it needs to and told me exactly where these fish are. So those are the 3 main things that you really need for offshore fishing. The other one would be, if I had to add a bonus to it, would be a trolling motor that can hold you in place. That's part of the other reason that we haven't filmed any videos, because I recently blew my brand new 80-pound motor guide trolling motor. My battery shorted out, didn't have a breaker, shorted out my system, and yeah, so we went back to the old 45-pound thrust. It's still enough to hold me in place to catch these offshore fish, but whenever the current really gets rolling on Kentucky Lake, it kind of sucks. But that's pretty much it, guys. Those are the 3 things that I think everybody should have. You don't have to have them. You don't have to have the nice, fish finder and all that, but it does help. You can look these spots up on Navionics and all that, but without a fish finder, you're kind of, you don't really know what you're fishing. You're just kind of there. That's all I've got for this video, guys. We're going to keep talking about offshore fishing in the next one, I hope. Maybe tomorrow we'll go out and catch some. That's why I'm sitting in the boat right now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that'll happen, maybe not. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you right here next time.